What's really interesting about the golf swing is how much emphasis we place on the first part of the swing, that takeaway. And I see a ton of videos out there about how to do the takeaway. I get a lot of questions about what's the best way to start the golf swing. And one of the most common takeaways that we see is the idea of doing the club head outside the hands approach. And I was a big fan of this takeaway for a long time. Most of my golfing life, I always thought, keep the club outside the hands. This will get the club on the good path to the top and it'll prevent you from swinging over the top. But I had a really eye-opening lesson a couple of years back that changed my entire philosophy on the takeaway. And it really told me that taking the club back out this way is doing a big disservice to your golf swing. And that we need to change how you think about the takeaway to start hitting the ball straighter, farther, and even seeing a beautiful baby draw. So here's what I'm talking about. When we look at the takeaway, the idea of taking the club out is popular because there's this sense of going out and looping under. So you get to hit the ball from the inside. And that's what's required to hit a really powerful golf shot, a really powerful, crisp golf shot. But there's an easier way than going out and having to loop under. And that is just simply the idea of forgetting about the takeaway entirely and just taking the club back the way your shoulders want the club to go. And here's why it's so much easier. The traditional takeaway of straight back and out means that for me to get to a good top of backswing position where I've got to deliver the club like this to the ball, for me to get there, I have to do something. I have to manipulate the club. I have to do this. Now that motion, anytime we have to introduce a new movement into your swing, that means we're compensating for something or we have to control something. And you know the golf swing is hard. You know that to control something in a millisecond worth of time, to get that right every single time, either you got to hit 10,000 balls, which we don't have time to do, or you just got to deal with the insanity of being inconsistent. And this top of backswing position here is ideal. You see a lot of players getting here because I can get right back to the ball. I'm already in the slot. So the easiest way to get there and avoid all of this confusion of having to figure out is to let the shoulders take the club back. So when I take the club back, you're going to see something a little bit different. But I want you to approach this with an open mind, because if you're not getting good results right now with your current takeaway, check this out. Try something new. As I swing the club back, I'm thinking about my front shoulder. Now imagine there's a pin right here through the club, and I'm going to pin this shoulder and move it under my chin. Now as I swing the club back, you'll see the club is moving up. You're seeing that the lead arm is staying straight, and you're also seeing that my hips start turning. So that's the foundation of a good start of your swing. Ideally, we want the club and body to work back together to the top to get into this position. I'm not fighting myself. I'm not making up moves to get into positions. I'm just letting the body take care of all the positions. This pin going under my chin with the lead shoulder connected to the upper body. Watch this. Okay, this would freak a lot of people out getting into this position. But you're going to see why this is such an advantage for you. Because if I keep this shoulder moving, watch, this pin's going to continue up and around. You've seen the club's going up, and it's going in behind me. Look at that. Beautiful top of backswing position. Now, if I put tons of pro golfers up on a screen right now, you're going to see this connected upper lead arm against the pec, more so on the rib cage, and they're taking this pin to the top. They're getting the club shallow at the top. This is taking care of business. Dun, 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 taking care of business. And then the business is taken care of because I'm already in a spot where I can take the club right back to the ball. So instead of me thinking straight back, taking that left arm off the body, my lead arm is going off the body. Now I've got many different places to take the club. Instead of that, we replace it with allowing the club to move with the body And then when we start down, I'm in a good spot to hit the ball. You just have to get comfortable with the idea of the club being a little bit behind the hands in the takeaway. That was the hardest part for me to overcome with this. Golf instruction was so saturated with this idea of this position. And you see millions of videos on this position, advocating this position. But you don't see anything talking about the natural takeaway, which is here. And it's so much more comfortable. If you're a baseball player, I used to be a baseball player, I love the idea of swinging the club around my body. A lot of golf instruction forced us to go off our body. So, pin in, good. Continue the pin past my chin. Now, another cool piece about this, look at how this is setting up the swing. All the positions you could think, takeaway, halfway back, top. Oh my goodness, gotta practice all that? I gotta figure out how to do that exactly right every single time. Well, I can do that exactly the same. You're not going to see any variation here. You're seeing the same swing. Pin under the chin, continuing up. Look, the arm's still on the pec. Now check this out, cameraman. I think they really would love to see this. Just look at this pin right here. So I'm actually pointing into pin. I'm imagining like I got a thumbtack in there. So it's a really fine pin, meaning I'm holding it secure. So you see that pin right there? Is that clear? Now as I continue back, look at the pin. It's not changing. So you see how this brings my shoulder. Keep moving the pin. I don't advise you getting a real thumbtack unless you want to have to really feel it, if you know what I'm saying. Then we'll have a gash in our arm. Now at the top here, look at this. It's the same. I'm squeezing it the same amount. I'm not tightening it. It's just the same. Now at the top, I'm good. A couple things you have to overcome to get this beautiful body-centric golf swing, this repeating swing. We talked about the first one, overcoming the odd sensation of the club being here versus here. The second thing you have to get used to is this idea of the club going more around your body instead of out and up. So think out and up as being arms getting off the body. So if I've got this pin in here, watch this. If I take the club off my body, if I take my arms off my body, the pin starts to, the thumbtack would come out. So my hand, there's no contact with the body. Now, I'm compromised. The mission is over. It's really hard to hit the ball consistently from this position because now the arms, where are they gonna go? So pin in feels like the club's going this way. Notice how I'm saying feels like, because if you're somebody who has strongly done this your entire life, then this sensation is like this. First time I made that switch, I couldn't believe the feeling. I said, it feels so wrong. But the instructor was like, Tom, just hit the ball. And I did, and it was majestic. Your best secret weapon to improving your entire golf swing is take a golf tee. 7 easy payments of $19.99. This golf tee could be yours. Now, if you use code Segudo Golf, it'll be free. So take it, and I'm placing it very fine. It's very fine. It's in there, but it's not all the way in. If I lodge it all the way in, that's easy. That's cheating. I just want it barely in. Now, I am so aware of this arm glued to my chest, I'm afraid to let it go. You got to imagine that you've got this shock collar on and this is tied to that, and that when this falls out and it hits the ground, anytime it hits something, it buzzes you. Don't think for a second that there's not a shock collar on me. Watch. I'm gonna keep this pinned in, left shoulder on the chin, there's that line, right? Continuing it in, look at that, it's pegged. It's pegged. Keep it pegged. Boom. Now at the top, you really gotta see how that's pegged in there. I know it looks like I'm really lodging the tee, like I've hammered it into my body. It's just because I've taken the left arm more in and it's elevated. It looks like I'm lodging it in there, but it's not. It's the same here, look at that. Don't let that hit the ground, folks. Take it back, shoulder under the chin, seeing the glue. If I don't, let's say I disconnect the arm from the body, anything like this, I told you, it shocks you. So we're gonna do a little halvesies, keeping the tee in. I never want that to leave. You see how beautifully clean that was? A nice crisp divot. It's almost like I didn't have to warm up today because I didn't. Oh! All right, the Shock Blaster 3000 training aid really gives you a jolt. All right, same thing. Do not disconnect. Halvesies. That is so pristine. Pristine. And look at that, it's staying in. Okay, I gotta describe a feeling that is very important that I notice with this, is how connected the body and the arms are, especially up here. It's like everything's working together. It's that magical, euphoric sensation of finally my golf swing feels like it's working together instead of everything fighting itself. And it feels more automatic. I just set it. I hit it straight. Wow. The one thing you see with my takeaway, you don't see the club very outside the hands. I'm just letting the takeaway happen. So I don't really worry about the takeaway. I don't worry about positions. The positions happen. Let your instructor worry about positions. That's a pretty hard strike right there. Because you're pulling the body around, the body is able to load more power, store more power. So the effects of this beautiful tee in the arm, look at the hips, boom. Easy hip turn of the backswing, and even downswing, connected, boom. How do I rotate my hips? How do I fire my hips? Don't worry about it. There it is. How do I set the club in the backswing? Don't worry about it. There it is. What about wrist hinge? Don't worry about it. Boom, as long as you got a good grip on the club and you see the tee staying in, it helps. What about downswing? Don't worry about it. It's gonna shallow. Whoop. Right back to the ball. So what about worry, anxiety, all these intrusive thoughts? Just throw them away. We don't have those anymore. An anxious-free golf swing. Here we go again, because it's fun. Little halvesies. Impact's good. What about impact position? Good, hands ahead. Why? Well, I don't have a disconnect. This body and arms working together. So if I set up like this, look at that. Look at that, shaft's forward. I'm already setting up for impact. Boom, take it down. Boom, where am I? I'm right back where I started and through. So I'm not having the flipsies. It's great. All right, so we're really gonna have to nuke one here because there's a lot of speed that can be had doing this. You'll hit some insane shots. So after you've done some halvesies, you kept the tee in there, keep it in there. We're gonna go all the way to the top. Keeping the tee, even on the way through it helps to keep the tee, because if you're somebody who has that chronic chicken wing problem, where you see this happen, where you see that happen, you see that happen, this tee fixes that. If any time your arms are breaking down, if any time they separate, if at any time you find your swings coming apart, this tee puts it all back together. So let's just send one again, a little bit more swing speed. I don't have to swing harder, I just have to swing faster with my shoulders. So I'm not working harder, I let the body take care of the work. That is awesome. That is awesome. Don't you love when things come together like that? some of life's biggest questions answered. Prayers to some of you. This would answer a prayer. Look at that ball right there in the middle, like a ball mark. Is that coming through nice and clean? Almost look at 4 grooves up. That's about the cleanest strike you can get. All because of a tee. But wait, there's more. When you order today, we'll double the offer. 7 easy payments of $19.99. Use code Segudo Golf with OxyClean. Some of the best training aids are free and they're right in front of you. I am taking the tee, keeping it in, and I imagine the pin traveling under my chin and up. The shoulder, boom, 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 boom. And then, whew, send it. All right. I even forgot about tempo there. I didn't even have a tempo. I just kind of loaded it and then fired it. What is that? It's different. It's different. It's different, but it's amazing because it's so work-free. I'm just not even going to care about tempo. Okay, there's another worry that's gone. Oh, it's my tempo. I think it ran out of battery. This ran out of battery. I'm good. It only has like a short shelf life. What's my tempo? Don't worry about it.
I don't believe you. Can I pull that peg out?
You don't believe me. Don't touch it, I'm afraid. Okay. Outtake number 7.